set them off, you gotta
Awesome. Well, I know we're at the top of the hour. So Scott, if it's all right with you, I know you guys got a packed agenda. I'll get going.
I just want to welcome Matt. I haven't really met him. They switched speakers about a week before the meeting. No big deal. I know Matt's been a part of Indeed for a few years, couple years. I just added him to LinkedIn a bit ago, so I'm just going off of that. Senior account manager over at LinkedIn as well. That must have been pretty fun for you. And then promoted over to account manager of large accounts over at Hover. And I'm sure you're pretty damn happy where you're at right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I gotta say that's probably one of the warmest welcomes I've gotten. Someone actually that went through and read my profile, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I just want to say, thanks for the opportunity for me to represent Hover and be able to speak to you guys. I know we have a great relationship with ABC Seamless, so happy to kind of go through some of the Hover platform, who we are, and then also some of the things that are coming down the line to get you guys excited for people that are using it or currently have questions and want to use it further.
We're happy to have you. I'm just going to add one more thing. If you guys have questions throw them in the chat box or give me a text. A lot of you have done that. But I'll let Matt go through his stuff here, just kind of introduce us to more of the new things that are coming down the road and how it's been working, and maybe some of the price changes and some of the additions. So Matt, I'll hand it off to you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys do have any questions, I think we've all gotten accustomed to Zoom lately. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to interrupt me, or throw them in the chat box. Happy to do that. But Scott mentioned my name's Matt Dufford. I'm an account manager based out of San Francisco. I actually represent the Minnesota, Dakota market, as well as Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So if you're in any of those markets, feel free to reach out at any time. Eric Rutledge is the account executive who was going to be running this. He is based in San Francisco as well, covering the Minnesota and Dakotas. And then the other one that I work with is Adam Rothschild, who I believe, Scott, you've worked with in the past before. So feel free to reach out to any.
As you guys have grown, we've been through, I think, about 10 reps already ourselves. So happy to have you and hope you stay around so we can pick your brain. But you guys have different territory managers all over. So we'll just make sure we get pointed in the right direction because we're all over the United States too. So
yeah, not a problem. So really, for those that you don't know, so we have a great partnership with ABC Seamless, where it's actually, you guys have a co-branded app where we're able to essentially show ABC Seamless products on the Hover platform. But really the basics for those that maybe haven't seen it or just lightly heard about it, what Hover is, it's a smartphone app. And essentially, when you take 8 pictures around any property, we can turn that into 2 things. One, an accurate interactive 3D model, as well as a measurement output as well. That will include the full exterior. What I mean by that is we'll do roof, siding, windows, doors, gutters, soffit, fascia, you name it, based off of those 8 pictures. So what we've really found though, with both the model and the measurements, what it does is it not only saves time, but it allows you to gain a competitive edge and win more business. So those are some of the use cases that we see, but definitely ranges based upon location and the type of business style that you run. But let me kind of dive into what the platform looks like, just so it looks a little bit more familiar, and then I can kind of let you guys know what's heading down the pipeline. This is what the property page will look like for you guys. It'll have a repository basically of any of the homes that you've done, as well as demo homes in here as well, right? So you'll notice this one, it's an admin account that has all of the ABC seamless jobs that have been done throughout history. A couple of things you'll notice in here is, one, the photos on here as well, right? So what the technology is basically extrapolating is at least 8 photos, 1 of each corner, 1 of each side, to be able to generate that measurement output. Now, a lot of this, in this short time, not going to go too much into detail of the photo capture, but for any individual locations that ever has questions or concerns about tight lot lines or things with tree coverage, we always have kind of a training process where myself and the account executives will definitely run through some best practices, because right now across the country, we're seeing less than a 2% fail rate on jobs. So really should put your mind at ease in terms of not only the accuracy of it, but also just the failure rate in these coming back. Now with this, based off of those 8 photos, there's a couple things that we can do. One, we have the 3D model, which I'll show kind of more of a demo one, and we have a measurement output with that as well. We also have some exports, so if you ever need to download this into like a XML file, PDF, CAD files, all of that is available for you as well. And I noticed on the schedule you guys are talking with Thomas over at Leap after this. If that's a system that you guys use as well, we do integrate with Leap to where you can be able to show the model in your estimates, pull the measurements in, and do things such as that as well. Now, if we go kind of into more of a basic one, I want to show you kind of the layout of it, right? So we have the 3D model, and then we also have the measurement PDF. This is something, if you've ever used maybe like an aerial provider, it's going to be a lot more robust in terms of what you see in the measurement PDF. A lot of the time we have people that are using these for their actual takeoffs and for production. Basically, we're able to, down to the nearest inch on a lot of this, especially on the roof line, provide a more robust and detailed measurement report for not only siding, but also for the roof. Right, so we'll include things, shutters, doors, and windows in here, but as you can tell, probably with windows a little bit more tricky in that regard. We'll give you the 4 predominant pitches on the roof, as well as down to the nearest inch. And then we'll also provide digital footprints, siding elevation, cornice returns, soffit and soffit depth. And then any home that actually has a gutter system on it, we will actually provide that in the complete report as well. And then always photos down at the bottom. Then from this, you'll also every time get a 3D rendering of this home. So this is usually kind of the point where people are a little bit like, oh, okay, cool. That's, pretty awesome. What are the use cases with it as well? And there are a couple of things with this that we find is really helps to differentiate yourself from the competition, really bring the conversation to value and not to price, right? A lot of people default to wanting to know, hey, are you the most expensive? Things like that. Well, this will help to elevate that pitch within the market to really provide value to the homeowner. And what I mean by that is there's a couple of different things here. This is a fully customizable rendering of the home, right? We can spin it around. We can throw it upside down. We can share the model, right? So you can copy this and email it to someone. When they get this, they actually won't get the measurements. They will just get the design capability. And then a couple things with this, we'll overlay the measurements. So what I mean by that is we can actually break down the different sections of this home and be able to, speak to those as well, right? So we're talking about, right, we'll break down the siding here. We'll give you the surface area, soffit. You can turn this home upside down, fascia, the openings as well with the windows and shutters. So it's great in a selling motion, or even in a production use case, because we actually have two where if you hit the M key on your computer, it will pull up a digital measuring tape. And so a lot of time people love this feature for production purposes because return visits to the property, right? You have to go back out and measure maybe for the team. Maybe it's something that you don't want to do, right? Well, now you can pull up the 3D rendering and pull out a measuring tape. Maybe there's a segment that you need to measure. Maybe it's something for gutters, right? And you need to put it on the eaves, for example. We can do that. The other thing in regard to this, though, is the design capability, right? So we can customize this home. And that's what's great in terms of the partnership with ABC Seamless is with the siding and roofing projects, right? We'll have your guys' products as well. So for example, you'll notice right now the whole home is in red, right? So 14 faces are basically highlighted right now, right? We have the different material. So say in this case, we wanted to go to other siding, right? You'll notice your guys' brand pops up, the log, and then it has the two different types as well as the different colors. So maybe in this case, we're feeling Christmassy, right? It's right around the corner. Let's do a cinnamon red. The thing I want to preface, I am not a designer, but you can imagine, right? Now this whole home is transformed into something that is completely different.
Yeah, you probably picked the worst color we have, just so you know. the worst rendering, because we're not doing too much PVC anymore. It's more duct mat or prism. So if you wanna go to horizontal siding and do the
Yeah.
colonial lux, it's going to show you a lot better panel than the log. And if you want to do, say, charcoal gray seems to be the most popular right now. If you throw that on there, and then you zoom into the panel for the definition, that's going to get you a lot more insight of what the panel actually looks like for that customer. So
sounds like you could be doing this, Scott.
No. We just we've done this a lot.
No,
And the
you're
biggest
good.
thing with all of our partners, we just want to make sure that you're available to answer any questions that they have. And I've already had a few questions that people didn't type into the chat box, but they're, I've talked with you guys over the years, and getting that ability for us to add the roofing panels to the gables. That's one of our biggest concerns right now, and it's kept on being pushed back. Our reason that we keep on getting is you guys are focusing more on the time that comes back with, and then also you guys are involved with a lot of insurance agreements right now to get your insurance end rolling. So
yeah, and if that's something still,
that.
if that's still something, right, to be able to visualize the roofing panels in there, I can definitely still echo that message and make sure that our team stays on top of it, especially with the partnership that we have. So I don't want you to feel like that's never being addressed. Yeah, because most of the time, so for example, for you guys, we're able to actually change different products, right? Be able to put different things in different places, right? We could split walls, for example. You'll see this little split button, right? Pulls into this horizontal split. So for example, we work bottom to top. So if we wanted to do trim, for example, around this, we could. Let's take some of these off for you guys. So like this one, let's go here and here. Say we wanted to just throw some trim on that little piece, not the whole thing, but you can start deselecting things. You can undo and redo, right? So there's a few different things you can throw on different types of siding, right? So Scott, in your case, are you saying too, just in the gables, it's something you guys want shingled?
Yeah, I mean, we have, if you go to our roofing segments,
right,
or facades, you guys call them, and I still can't believe that not a lot of people call them that, but now it's Now it is facades, I guess. But if you go to like Seamless HD, if we wanted to add those Seamless HD panels in the on the existing sidewalls of the house,
Right.
we're
Gotcha.
unable to do that. And I keep on getting all these. We asked the question first back in 2015, but that is the most common question that comes up: is how hard is it for your developers or your software engineers to apply that to the field of the
Of the
um,
siding.
exactly. And it's been a pain in the butt, but we've been getting by with pretty good deals with you guys. So I know I've relayed the information about 2 or 3 times a year, but if you do it again, hopefully we'll try to figure it out sooner than later.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, telling it directly to me, so I'll make sure to echo it. Eric and I and Adam will always, vouch for you guys, right? So we want to make sure the partnership is, working great in that regard. So cool. Right. So you can throw on different types of roofing and siding materials, right? Fully customizable rendering here. Before I go on kind of to some of the improvements, are there any questions that anybody has? Happy to answer those about the rendering. I know it's really quick. It's 30 minutes. So if there's anything too that anybody ever needs a deep dive into, like that's why we're here as resources, right? Is really to tease this about the partnership, what you guys can do. And if you feel it's going to be, that value add, especially for your location, we definitely want to have those resources available, whether that is training, right? Hey, how do I use the model? How do I photo capture, right? How do I download some certain things, right? Where do I access all that stuff? That's what we're here for. As well as, if there is something, like Scott was mentioning, great question on removing the
Yeah,
shutters.
go ahead and answer this one. I know the answer, but it's been in progress since about 2016 as well, if I think.
Right. Yeah. Being able to add or remove. Yeah. So I know one of the things that we're trying to implement for next quarter is being able to chat our support and be able to get the shutters removed in those cases. So it's definitely a lot closer, I would say, down the pipeline than say, people are always asking us about like interiors, for example. So shutters right now don't have the ability yourself to remove them. We're working on to where you can chat, support and be able to remove those.
Another one. There are, I don't know if possible, but if you could provide, now this isn't all ABC stuff, but uh, if you could provide other vendors that you have already with products in there. I think there was a question on adding the Tando Stone. I'm not sure what company that's the parent company, but just adding that into the stone features. Like all we do is Boral, which is Versetta Stone, so that's all we offer. But there are many other companies that you guys utilize that have products in here now too. It just would be turning on those abilities for the ABC dealers to use them, correct?
Yeah, so I know with Stone, let me even see. I think it might be for you guys as well. Just want to check. Yeah, Boral's the one I believe that we have the direct partnership with. Yeah, so basically outside of this realm, and it's a different rabbit hole that we could go down, but any of the products that are being shown, right, it's premium placement, as ABC Seamless knows. But if we take that outside in like kind of the stone realm, or shingles, for example, we're working directly with those manufacturers to get them up. So if there is a big need within your guys' markets for a certain type of stone, for example, that you think would be of value, let us know. And that's something that we can bring to our partnerships teams to make sure to have that conversation.
Yeah, I guess we're letting you know right now that one person is interested in that. I'm sure others use it, but it used to be Execterra
Okay.
composite stone. But if we could talk about that after the meetings too, you and I, and we can just see
Yeah.
if we can get that in there. So
Yeah, not a problem.
but if there's, like you said,
Great questions.
if there's more product that you need in there, I mean, obviously we focus all on ABC. That's all we want you guys to sell. However, if you're adding that as a supplementary product such as stone, we'll definitely look at that, see if we can add that in, or talk to Hover and see if we can add that in.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. And then so really to kind of let you guys know, so if anyone has used the platform in the past or is currently using it as well. I want to kind of reiterate some of the product enhancements with it as well, and then where we're going, in 2021. Some of the big things that we're really trying to implement as well is, we're working with a Pixar developer to make our models more photorealistic. So there are already some examples in there where you can take like screenshots and we'll give you more of an HD rendering. But really what we're trying to move towards is a few different things. One, speeding up the process of when the models get turned around, meaning some of our expedited programs getting either just like a roof report in about 30 minutes or completed expedited in about an hour. Also just the ease of use in the photo capture, really having guidance from our technology when you're doing that process as well. The big one really is this one in the top right, something called transform, marketing lingo, but essentially what it is now we're moving into being able to take our measurements and be able to produce an estimate. So our big thing is really trying to be this full platform available for the team, from lead gen and having the model show up on the website and be able to be used as a kind of a hook for some people, to the photo capture, the model as a sales tool, being able to visualize, have the measurements, and then later at the end of the funnel, being able to take all of that, work with the team on getting material and labor orders to the specific margins that you want, and be able to produce an estimate. That's kind of the big thing. Lots of stuff on here to digest, and I'm happy to send it over, Scott, afterwards, so the team can kind of just reference any of the information. But that's kind of where 2020 was, and then where 2021 is going. Really, it's a lot of improvements there. Improvements on our proposals and contracts and our estimation platform. We want to put a pizza tracker essentially on the jobs, meaning you guys know exactly when they're going to be turned around. When are we building it? When are we, going to the next stage, and when is it going to get delivered to you? Another one is we want to include roof layers on the 3D model, being able to break down the sections of the roof, not just looking at shingles, but be able to dive a little bit deeper into, underlayment, for example, and be able to speak to the components of the roof. And then more around kind of the lowering our fail rates below that 2%, getting the reports faster, and then also being able to share some saved designs, on the model as well. And I'm seeing that the shakes as well. So I've taken some notes, to take back as well, and make sure that's something that gets, echoed to the team.
Yeah, it's been brought up more than anything that we've talked about, probably about 20 times in the last 4 years, but we're just kind of just waiting, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's always, something I think, as you get bigger, it needs to just be like that squeaky wheel, right? So just to let you guys know why I'm optimistic that we'll be able to do that is we're actually hiring roughly, 100 to 150 people, basically trying to help those product enhancements as well.
Yeah, and that just helps us not pay you as much as what you guys should get from us if you don't have it available. There was Chris actually asked a question here. Is there ability for the homeowner that has new plans for an addition to a photo to send those to you and have that added to the 3D model, or is that even possible? I know a couple of years ago you guys talked about blueprints. I'm not sure if you guys followed that path or not.
Yeah, great question. So we didn't follow the path of blueprints. It was more wanting to capture the physical structures that are already there. So if someone is planning on an addition, right, and they want to be able to visualize that, we're not going to be able to do that on the 3D model. It basically has to be a standing structure for us to do. Now, if it's something around new construction and it's weather tight, right, we have ways where we can turn around the measurements to you. But in terms of a future state, right, where it's maybe an addition, like you guys said, that's not something that would be able to get visualized.
Yeah, and typically when you do those new construction, even if it doesn't have Tyvek or weather tight on it, you can give your CSR reps are pretty damn good. They get back usually within an hour or two. You give them the dimensions of the garage door or the entry doors, and they're able to plug those in typically and get you the numbers on that property.
Yep, exactly. So that's the thing too, to kind of echo as well. What any questions you guys have, it's really, we try and preach on our customer service meeting. You have your account managers in your respective areas, your account executives as well. And so any of those questions, I could definitely direct who is representing which territories. Then as well, anytime within the app, you have our customer support, whether you need to call them, email them, or chat them directly in the app. So there's a lot of ways to access people that work directly at Hover, and it doesn't feel like you're just, in a queue or anything like that. I get texts all the time. I get phone calls. It's part of my job and I love doing it. So you guys can always reach out.
Yeah, I appreciate you going through all this stuff. It's just, as far as how we're frustrated is, we've been promised this stuff for the last 3-4 years, and with any technology company, you don't know how fast you can get stuff done, and you have to focus on making money for one before you move on to other developments. So I understand it. I know a lot of us on here would prefer to have the ability to basically design it just like any other, Photoshop or what have you. But here's the beauty part about Hover. It provides you with so much information. It saves you a lot of money. You don't have to drive out to the job site all the time. And also, pretty much anybody within a couple 3 hours of training can design the house with the homeowner. So any sales guy that, squirrel, it's over there. They're paying attention for 5 minutes, try to design, and then they move on to something else. They're able to design a house within 5-10 minutes. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the last kind of tidbit I'll leave is any part throughout this whole process, like I echoed the customer service, but you have us there to help train if you need it. So like Scott was saying, when it comes to, the photo capture, or, how to invite someone else to do the capture, to using the model in a sales motion, or even throw on, different shingles or siding or whatever it may be, that's what we're here for as resources, really, to make sure that you're not in it alone, right? We do this fairly often. We hear all the questions. So please lean on us if you need to. If this is something that seems like using the program is a mountain to climb, we want to reduce that, into a little hill. So if there's any questions that you have during that whole thing, feedback, whether it's good and bad, I got tough skin. Feel free to let us know, and we're happy to, for example, the roof shakes, being able to do that in the gable. I'm gonna already chat our product team and try and figure stuff out. So always give us that feedback, and we appreciate it.
I think we've got your updated information and the agenda, but would you throw that back up here for us?
Yes.
And there was one other question that I had that was brought up last year. There was going to be more than one option of saving designs of a property. So right now you only have one option. Is that still in the works to have maybe multiple options of saving different designs pre-designed before visiting with the homeowner?
Yep, great question. That's getting developed for Q1 of next year. Yeah, it's been a huge ask. One, a couple caveats with that. One, to have multiple save designs, and then also being able to share a save design. So I guess my question to you then, as a longtime user, which one would be more of a priority, multiple saves or being able to share?
I think probably if you're able to do one design, save it and share it, that would probably take priority over multiple, I guess, for now.
Okay.
Just because not everybody's even going to do more than 2 or 3 designs, if that. So
Right.
doing that one design and sharing with them, it's just very powerful. I mean, I know we're in Zoom environments all over the place now, but designing a house with the homeowner and sharing that with them so they can take a look at it versus taking screenshots, which is fairly easy too. It just kind of saves a little bit of time here and there, and they can pull that link up whenever they want to visit with it or look at it. Because husbands and wives, they have busy lives. Sometimes in bed they grab the iPad. That's the first time they're going to be able to look at their house and see what they want to do.
Yeah, and I'm just typing in the chat too, Chris. Great question. Will the photorealism be available at some point in design or only in screenshot? The plan is to have it in the design. So right now, just to be able to kind of like test it, it's in that screenshot mode where basically you can take a picture of it and we'll do an HD rendering. But the ultimate goal is to be able to have that in the design. And then Another great question. Are we able
Yeah,
to
that one-
submit blueprints for measurements and design? We are not. So it was a plan of ours a couple of years ago to have it where we could do blueprints, but the team decided, higher ups, to kind of go down the route of following physical structures, not ones that haven't been made yet.
Appreciate
Great
it.
questions though, guys.
We got a couple minutes left. If there's anything else you guys like to add or ask, feel free. Otherwise, after that 2 minutes, Matt, I'm gonna give it over to Thomas here, and then he's gonna roll.
Yeah, not a problem. If there are no more questions, here's my contact information. I know Scott has it as well. I can share an email with you, Scott, kind of with a little bit of
Go
the
ahead.
slide decks, and
That'd be great.
we'll go from there. But I appreciate it. Thanks for the time, guys. We appreciate the partnership and look forward to working with all of you as well.
We truly very much feel our relationship's very valuable between us, and we don't want that to change. It's very beneficial to have your guys' services, and we were one of the first companies with you guys, and we're happy to maintain that relationship. And I appreciate you spending the time here doing this today.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks, guys. Good luck with the rest of the day. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. You too. Mr. Thomas, are you ready to show your screen there, bud?
I definitely am, Scott. How are you?
All right. Wow, you're just looking fantastic. You got Home Alone in the background and everything.
You like that? Yeah. Kevin's protecting the house for me back here.
Absolutely. So Thomas, he's been executive actually over at Hover for what, 3 years, 3 years, 1 month, it looks like. And
Scott, I remember the early days of beginning our relationship over at Hover with ABC Seamless. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was kind of right when we started rolling here, a year after that. And you've been over at Leap for a year right now, over in Baltimore with Mr. Steve Stencil. And
That's right.
yeah, it's been a good path for us, communicating with Hover and Leap and knowing the guys that started it. It's pretty awesome. And right now you're manager of strategic partnerships over there.
That's right.
And also you do a podcast. How often do you do those?
Yeah, the podcast episodes come out every 2 weeks on Thursdays.
Is it possible after this you could send me this and your podcast link? So if we're not on LinkedIn, we could take advantage of taking a look at some of the companies that work with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. And I'd love to get Scott yourself or somebody from the ABC Seamless team on a podcast. Be great.
Sounds fantastic. I'm going to hand it off to you because we only have 30 short minutes, but
I know it.
we really appreciate our relationship with you guys as well. And thanks for being here today.
Awesome. Well, yeah, hey, I really appreciate it. I enjoyed actually sitting in the passenger seat for that Hover demo. For 3 years, I was taking those fiery questions. So it was nice to sit back and listen and relax. And Hover's doing great things. So if you're not using them, I'd highly encourage you, to use them and use them more. Before I get into too much, I know you guys have a poker tournament tonight. I, for your sake, bowed out of it. But I just want to throw these pictures up because I think they say a little bit about my background. As Scott says, I was with Hover for 3 years. I've been at Leap now for a year. But before that, I was in the Marine Corps, served 4 years in the Marine Corps, a couple times in Iraq. And then after that, I've been a contractor. So I've been a contractor for roughly 20 years, learned how to tear off roofs, install them, and then got into the project management and then the sales side and joined Hover back when there was 20 or so people. And, that's a great technology and really fell in love with the technology space. And so I joined Leap because, Leap's doing a lot of great things for home improvement companies, being the first ever point of sale application. They're really digitizing and providing you a way to, show up professional, increase your perceived value, and give customers a way to buy that they're anticipating nowadays. I, like probably a lot of you, remember the days of standing there like a scarecrow holding up 2 sample boards. Do you want, brown or black? And, those days, are in the past. We're looking to digitize everything, take what you have, what's working successful, and put it into an iPad. And so my job as, strategic partnerships manager at Leap is really to make your sales experience and your project experience as seamless as possible. And so I do that by integrating with technology like Hover, with the CRMs out there, with the finance companies out there, and any other complementary products and services that you may use in your day-to-day business. And so with that, I am going to do a quick screen share of my iPad because I want to show you a couple things as they relate to Hover and using an iPad. And then I'll jump back here to my PowerPoint. So quick switch screens here. And let's see, hold it up. There we go. Cool. So I've got my Leap application on here. I know a lot of you are familiar with Leap. For those that aren't, and maybe you're seeing this for the first time, Leap's going to digitize everything from your estimate to your proposal, your contract, house your resources, videos, links, PDFs, photos, those type of things. Allow you to submit credit applications and sign deals on the spot. So I want to run through just a couple quick things on here. And as you have questions, as you did in the session before with Hover, feel free to drop them in that chat box. Select my customer here. What I want to show you here, though, is I'm using roofing as an instance, but I can use siding as well. Tying off of our last, your last presentation with Hover, if I go in here and click on Hover and I've got my address pulled up there. Now, if I'm at a property, it'll just pull up that address, but I'm typing one in, obviously, if I'm on a demo account. This seamlessly pulls in all the measurements relative to the different line items that you need to create an estimate. So I click done on here. I've got my price. Siding, I could do the same thing, right? I'll get that Hover report. And what this does is eliminate the need to take those measurements and transcribe them and put them into an estimate. I can simply click there. Again, populates all the line items I want. We can map it back to specific areas and fields and products. And I can have, show different options. So obviously this is my demo account. And I've got some James Hardy products on here, but you can have your ABC Seamless products on here, of course. And then be able to really quickly come up with an estimate. What I'd always encourage you, though, if you're coming up with an estimate for, you're called out there to replace siding, give them estimates on other things that you do as well. So whether you do windows or roofing, give them estimates on those, because we can always go in there and deactivate something, right? But what it does is you're collecting this data that you can use down the road to, in the off season, reach back out to these customers, or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, and say, hey, I know, we looked at doing your roof back when I was out there, and we did your siding. Are you interested in, knowing what that price would be, or moving forward with that project? And you already have collected all the information you need, so you can easily send them a price. The nice thing, though, here, as it goes back, and I relate this back with Hover, I've pulled in all the measurements. It created an estimate that simple. Now in my resource section, what it also has done is pulled in that report, that PDF that Matt just went over. So all that's right in here. So I can flip through this with the customer, and you see I'm doing this on my iPad via Zoom. So if you're meeting with a customer remotely, you could do this the same way I am. If you're meeting them in person, you can obviously just show them this on your iPad. But the other nice thing is here, guys, is that it actually pulls in the 3D model as well. So everything that Matt just showed you about interacting with the 3D model and changing designs and accessing measurements, changing colors, all that stuff can be done right here. And I never left the Leap application. I'm still within here, right? And I can do all that same functionality and talk to the customer about, hey, we're gonna remove the siding, you run ice and water, shield up the wall, install new step flashing, all the things that you're gonna do, you can do right from within here. So I clicked done, and again, I'm still within Leap. I didn't have to go in one application and close it and go to another application and close that. And that's really what my job here is at Leap, is to make sure that this experience is as seamless and easy for you as possible. Note there's other things that you use during the sales presentation that maybe linked to an external source. We can put those right here within that resource section as well. You see I've got like links to our YouTube page, for instance. So if you've got videos and those type of things, you can put those in here as well. And of course, we'd encourage you to add before and after photos of your work, so that customers can see what you do. And again, this is all within that resource section. If there's a lender or a software that you use, whether it's a company, CAM, Engage, any of these type of things, you can utilize them all right here within this resource section. One of the other things I'll show you here, and I'm not sure if what you guys offer from a financing perspective, but we do have partnerships with 6 different lenders. You can see them here on the screen. And what this allows you to do, if I click into one of these, I'll say click on Green Sky. What this allows you to do is fill out an application, click next, send this to the bank, and they'll send you back approved, denied, or maybe a pending, depending on the lender. And you'll know right away that your customer got approved and can carry on with the sale. Nice thing here too is if it doesn't get accepted. All this information you see here is already filled in customer name, so I never had to enter that in, which is beautiful. What is also nice is that if I've entered information like requested loan amount, that information will carry over into, let's see, a foundation like a subprime lender. That information would carry over to here, and then I don't have to fill it out again. Now, what I'd recommend if you do use multiple lenders and you know they're within Leap here, is just create a blank credit app, because you can take all the fields from the different credit applications, put them into one credit application, have this filled out with the customer, and then be able to click on a different lender and just submit it to them without going back to the customer and saying, hey, on this one I need your you know, monthly income, and on this one I need to know you know, your firstborn's name, right? So whatever it may be, you can encompass it on a blank credit app. A new feature that if you're using Leap, you may not have noticed, and if you don't use Leap, you wouldn't know the difference. But there's at the bottom here, send secure credit application via email. So what we've done here is actually given you the ability where if you're remote, you can send this application to the homeowner, they fill it out, it comes back securely, meaning you don't see any of the information they've entered, like social security number or any of that, it's all encrypted. So a customer can feel safe giving you that credit card, or I'm sorry, that credit application information. I'm getting ahead of myself, but we also have this function available to collect payment to for credit cards or checks. So you can send the request to the homeowner and then get back that information all securely. So I'm gonna click cancel on that. We're not gonna go through that, but those credit applications are there. The other thing, if you work with one of those lenders, great. If you don't, no problem. Just want to make you aware of this. The other thing you can do, and maybe I'll go back in the estimate section and show you this. If I click finance option here, and let's say that this project's $40,000, customer is going to put down 5. I can go in here and look at my low monthly payment options, and in here, regardless of whether we integrate with them or not, you can go in and load all your factors in here so that you can know, you know, what are my different monthly payments going to be. And the number in red there is showing me what the dealer fee is. Now, obviously, if I'm, you know, working with a customer and showing them what their different options are for monthly payments, I don't want to show them dealer fees. So I can just go here, turn off dealer fees, go back here. And now I can look at this without dealer fees associated with it. So if I have a customer who says, yeah, you know, I can afford a $450 a month payment. Well, awesome. I've got one of those. But what's important to know for you, I'll go back here to my estimate section. That plan carries a $1,100 dealer fee with it, right? So it's pretty high. It's not your you know, $0 dealer fee. But when I select that, it's going to factor it into my price down here. So now you've accounted for that dealer fee. You don't have to worry about eating it or anything like that. And the customer is getting the monthly payment that they want. You'll see down here too, if you've got this, hopefully you can see down at the bottom where it says retail 69,000. You have the ability to set some different parameters if you're a sales rep, or if you're doing this for your team, where it can show you, hey, here's my retail price, here's my initial visit, maybe it's a 10% off, and then here's my floor. I can't sell this job below $39,312 because we won't make enough profit on this to make it a viable job. So just some parameters in there for you as a sales rep to know, like, hey, I can't sell below that. Now, I don't know if there's sales reps on this call or not, but one of the things you can do too within Leap that's really nice is on the back end. If you've got a team of 5, sales reps, and you got one who historically sells at the floor, you can actually artificially inflate that floor by $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, so that even though that one rep is selling at the floor, there's still a profit, in there. So you can adjust some of those things by sales rep. There's a lot of those back end controls that you have over, what's being accessed in Leap. I know I'm moving faster, but I know, I want to leave time for any questions, so I'm just going to keep pushing through. Let's see, what did it say I need to do? Proposals. I need an email address for my customer. So I'll go back in here to Donald, email t@yahoo.com. Now, if you're pulling in this information from your CRM, it'll already have that contact and stuff information in there. If you're entering this customer by hand, which I just did here, and then hit save that email. Let's do this. It can also pull from like a Google Calendar or an Apple Calendar, any of those. That email done.
Yeah, too bad you can't do Outlook yet, bud. That'd be great.
Outlook. Hey, that's a great point. Let me write that down.
Oh, thanks. No one's asking that?
No, I have not heard that. You know, it's funny. I didn't use Outlook until I joined Leap. We use Outlook here, so I'm Outlook every day. But I use personal wise. I use my Google Calendar for everything.
Yeah, we would just prefer not to have to enter it multiple places, which we've been used to,
Absolutely,
but I think
100%. Scott, can I ask you guys? I don't know if it's universal or what do you guys use for a CRM?
Market Sharp, about 75% of our ABC CMOS dealers use Market Sharp right now.
All right, that's great. We've got a full integration with Market Sharp, so you connect those two, and you won't have to enter in any of the customer information. So that's great. I'll also show you one more thing at the end that results back into Market Sharp. So just running through the proposal, we did have this new, I don't want to call it a feature because it's a function in there, but you've got the ability to insert pictures and stuff. So if I pull up a cover page, and I'm sure you guys have much better, those of you that have an account with Leap, a much better proposal and cover page. So I'm not going to spend a lot of detail or time in this, but I'm just going to select a couple different things that I want to include in my proposal. But with this cover page, right, I can go in here, I could draw something, or I can keep current selection. I can pull up a photo. Let's say this is a beautiful picture of the front of the home. I can click done. I have got my photo there. I want to show this customer what a 10% discount would look like. I'm gonna go next. And you can customize. This is a poor example of a proposal cover page, but the idea here being that you can set up a cover sheet that allows you to bring in the photo that you want of the front of the home and some other information that you'd want to put on there. And then basically here you can create a full proposal that you can review with the customer. You also have the ability to send this, print it, review it. So if I click on send, I can attach, say, a shingle brochure or more about the company history, anything like that. Click send, verify the email address, send. Whoever t@yahoo.com is going to be frustrated with me, but just send them a proposal.
You guys have added so much information in the past year that we haven't had time to take advantage of all. The proposal's been there for a bit, like the tech measure sheet, the surveys and stuff. We haven't had time to actually build out any of that. So that's the thing, is you guys have templates in here to where if Fargo or Bismarck or whatever location has Leap, they build them out. We can share those templates with them, correct? And they can just utilize them.
Absolutely. Yep, we can almost as easy as like copy paste. We can definitely take those and duplicate them and then make the small tweaks for the locations. Yeah, absolutely.
But sky's the limit as far as what you guys have produced here. I mean, you have a PDF view and you have a document view. So you build anything that you want to in here, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you can think of this like an accordion, right? Like you're going to build it. I think it's really evident in like a contract portion. You put anything you want in here as far as like little pieces of a contract, right? If you're doing the siding and the windows and the roofing, like we can make all those part of a contract, or maybe you're just doing the siding. We can just have the siding portion for the scope of work. So it's really like an accordion. You're building this contract to fit to that customer, but you've got all the building blocks in here, right? You're just piecing it together how you want. You can even attach like the hover report to this contract if you wanted. So all of that functionality exists within here. Our document engine is really like at the core of what Leap is, and the ability to customize these and create documents that you can send, sign, review. It's going to create any kind of PDF that you want. And the nice thing, Scott, for those that use Market Sharp, is when you're done with this appointment and result this lead, all these PDFs that you create, whether it be a survey or proposal or a contract or a work order, all those will go right back into the CRM too, so that you have full visibility of them, right there in the Market Sharp account. So it's a really, really great integration. I'm just going to finish going through here and close this out on the contract portion. So I could put in here, I'm just going to put some dummy info so you can see what a completed one looks like. Home, remove it. Anything that you make in red means that it's a required field, so I'd have to input it. You'll see down here, this pulled in those photos that I took with Hover.
Are you saying that if you don't put a square total in there, that it's not going to let you submit it?
So when you set up the account, you can make fields required. So if you want a field that's required, you can check that it's required. And then as a sales rep, I have to answer that field. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
We're not going to, we're not going to, make you do anything. But when you set up the account, you can require specific fields.
How many feet? How many wraps? How many square?
Right. You can make those required. Yeah.
Perfect.
So the sales rep has to put those things in there, or they can't move forward. Because for instance, if I didn't specify this and I try to click next, it tells me I'm missing something. And so it doesn't let me move forward. So the sales rep, I can't forget anything because I can't move forward in the process. So it tells me I need to pick what that existing siding is. Let's hope it's not asbestos. Oh, see, now it's telling me something else too. My payment details I'm missing. You see here red. What's the cash deposit, form of payment? Now here's where I can go like credit card, and we can scan it, or capture later means I can send this request to the homeowner. But if I put capture, give you guys all my credit card information. Or one. Try this one on Amazon. See if
Yeah, that doesn't sound real or look real.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, no one's gonna get rich off of that credit card number. Click done. And the nice thing here too is that it tokenizes that credit card information. So now it's stored securely. So if you take half up front and half when the job's done, or any kind of progress payments, you could process them. But the nice thing too, you capture this up front. Maybe you don't charge anything until the end. You can at least capture the credit card on the front end, and when the job's completed, run that charge. So when I click next on here, see, it generates that nice document for me, and I can flip through this with the customer, go all the way through here, click sign, get my signatures on here. Scott's favorite piece here is if I click DocuSign, I can send this via DocuSign.
There's a question that came in few days ago. Now when you're sending these documents to customers via email, you have to make sure that you're your mindset's always thinking about how many pages can I send at one time, because if you include 16, 20 photos in here, that's probably not going to work and get sent back. So are you guys working on a solution to figure out maybe a more compact, other than the portable document file as PDF, to have more information into one document? I have no idea if that's even possible, but
that's a good question. Like you mean like instead of a PDF, almost making like a web version of a contract?
Because some of our guys have done it where we added the EPA document, and that's about 20 pages, and it won't allow us to send because it's too big to send via electronic email.
Yeah, I'd say so. Is that EPA document? Is that a document that needs some kind of signature or form filled on it?
Yeah,
or is it simply
we'd like
simply information.
We could send it separately, but in this case, it was sent the whole packet. We just have the sheet that we sign now, and we hand it off. But I'm just trying to figure, as far as I know, the most compacted file that you could send is the PDF. However, like if there's a possibility of, if the PDF is too large, that there was a cloud server that you guys would have that would just have a link of that document.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would suggest in that instance, we don't have anything like that, but what I would suggest is, like, when you're sending that contract, I would take some of those larger files if you can and send them as attachments, if that makes sense. So when I go through here and do all my, it won't let me send until I sign.
And that's fine. It's just like Brandon just said, a compressed zip file of that information, because for us, the best way to look at a job, say it's a $50,000 siding job, siding gutters, we take, most of our guys take a lot of photos, so we like to include them in that. And now it's like basically having a separate hover, separate photos, and separate agreement all coming to the production department at one time versus having it all come together.
Yeah. So you're running into a size limit there.
Yep.
That makes sense. Let me take it back to the team and find out. I wish I could give you an answer now, but I don't know. So
that's all right. I'll just make sure.
I like the suggestion.
Whatever you send back, I'll just make sure everybody on the call gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. Appreciate that feedback. Yeah, I whatever you can send via like that's standardized. Maybe it's product information, like if you can send that as an attachment. Anything else you can send as sort of a link to a website would be great. And that's where you could do it in this portion of it, so it's not actually attached to that document.
And there was actually another one too that came up. So here, think about it this way: you send out stuff to a homeowner, but it's wrong in one detail. You've already sent it. You sent it off.
Yeah.
There isn't any way to go back to that agreement and just everything's there, and then alter that one thing. Is there?
There's not. Right, correct. Now you can pull up an old estimate, but you have to go back through and fill out the contract.
And that's been frustrating for some of our guys that have made the mistake with changing you know, 5-inch Colonial versus 5 Colonial Lux or 5 flat. That's the only thing that's wrong on there. So our sales manager, Mike, goes back there and he has to, you know, write it on there. Kind of, you know, it'd be a lot easier if we're able to resend that with the right information to have the homeowner sign, you know.
Yeah, you mean like an edit function within
Just
the
an edit
contract to be able to
function
resend?
and I'm sure you guys are working on that. I'm sure somebody's brought it up, but
Yeah.
that would be very helpful for people not getting frustrated. Oh shit, I missed one window on here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm making notes here, guys. Yep, absolutely. What one last thing, let me show you, and for those of you that do use MarketSharp, this is great. Like, you can click your results button here and send all this information back to, go to sale, send all this information right back to MarketSharp. So some of the fields might look a little different than what I have on here, but it's essentially mapping back to your MarketSharp. This will result the lead in MarketSharp and then have all the documents back up there.
And Josh sent in, you know, you could just have them sign a work change order. That's right, no problem. It's just as far as sending a document out that's not complete right away with the homeowner, sometimes that, you know, has them they feel a little weird about you right away sending a work change order on the job that you just sent them. So I know you can do that. It's just, in our case, that would be another packet of information being sent for a work change order too, right, bud?
Yep, that makes sense.
It's okay if you don't talk about that. It's fine. But yeah, if we could talk later on this, that'd be great too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm taking some notes over here. I wanted to trying to look. Are there any other questions? I know we've only got about 5 or 6 minutes left, so want to make sure that if there's any questions, I get them answered or at least written down so that I can get answers for you.
And Brandon, there is a change order that we've built, or Grant, and I think Grant helped me out with this one too, bud. We built a work change order that you can just go in there and get signed and DocuSigned as well. So any changes we have, we typically do that, or our sales manager sends it out and gets it signed. So it's definitely a great function to have to make sure that everybody is communicated on the way of doing the job. And that's the big part of having Leap, is having that ability to not miss anything. You know, often we miss, oh, I forgot to put color in, but is that real? Oh, I just put a color in because the customer didn't decide it. How hard is that for the production manager to corral the sales guy when he's running 10, 15 appointments a week, or to talk to the sales manager, get him to corral the sales guy? It's not as easy as it, you know, just, it might take a week before we even get that in production, you know. And then there's the ordering part of it too. You order stuff now, it takes 2, 3 times as long to get.
Absolutely.
All right. Sorry to take your thunder there, bud.
No, you're good, Scott. No, I appreciate it. I just want to make sure if anybody has any suggestions, questions, let me know. I put my contact information up on here. So that's my cell phone. So if you call me or text me, as Scott knows, like, I'll answer. We can have a conversation. Happy to do that. I'm happy to, provide any feedback I can to the product team. They're always looking for feedback. So, no feedback is bad. It's really helpful in determining the direction of the product and making sure that it's what you guys want. Leap was born from a sales rep, in a home improvement company, and so it's
Steve. Oh, yep.
Yeah, yep. So it's that's where it has its roots. So we're always looking to continue to make it better via feedback.
Then you are invited to that poker tournament tonight, by the way.
And you just let you know, Thomas.
You can invite Steve too. I know he plays. I see that.
I know Steve does. Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas, just to let you know, I saw those photos in the beginning there, and pretty much the reason I figured you weren't playing is because Scotty said you were scared of him because he's so good at poker. But that's that's just what Scott told me. So I'm just letting you know.
Yep, that was our conversation this morning.
Yeah.
Grant, did you want to say anything, Grant? I know you use Leap quite a bit. We've been talking about it quite a bit recently. Do you have anything you want to add? If not, we'll make sure to get you all the information.
Sorry, I'm in the other room where we're in our big conference room. So
I just wanted to know if you had anything.
I guess nothing really that you haven't touched on. Obviously the integration, like with DocuSign for us and stuff like that, be able to, send these contracts out remotely, especially for like work change orders and stuff, has been fantastic. Obviously, for us, when we're doing a lot of traveling out in Western North Dakota, if you got a simple work change order that needs to be taken care of, you can send it from the office or send from the office, have them sign it remotely. Obviously, instead of driving miles and miles and miles, takes care of that, cut some costs for us as well. So in that portion.
Who's that in your photo? Is that you?
You turned.
Just kidding, bud. Jeez. All right. Anybody else with any questions or want to wrap it up with Mr. Tom Bosch? I mean, your time is very valuable, and we appreciate you as a partner with us, spending the time with us today and including your information where they can directly connect with you. That's great.
Absolutely.
And basically, if there's anybody you want to ask at LEAP, either you have Tom's information, Walker's information, or Steve's information, and I know that Thomas is. He'll make sure if you have any questions that they get answered. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
the partnership, Tom.
Yeah, likewise. Really,
Josh
really
is-
appreciate it too.
Josh has asked if you can attach pictures to change orders.
If you build it out that way, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
If you have a spot for attachments, yep.
you can build it that way. Absolutely. Hey guys, just one last thing too. If there's anything that you want to have done that you just don't have the time to do, we do have a pro services team that can build it out for you, obviously at a per hour cost. But just know that that's available too. If there's stuff you want to do with your account that you haven't gotten around to, that's an option too. So if you're interested in that or looking for that, just give me a call or shoot me an email. Happy to put you in touch with that team.
Sounds great, Thomas. I appreciate everything.
Awesome.
If you'd send me a follow-up email of some information you might want to include to everybody, that would be great because I can get it out to them. And
Will
then
do.
we can go from there.
Awesome. Really appreciate the time and the partnership, guys. Thanks.
Hey, thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we've got next. We're right on schedule here, 2 p.m. We've got Grant and Travis doing a quick presentation here today. Ted is on the call because he does know the value of building deferred payments to the homeowners now versus asking for that $40,000, $50,000 out of pocket. Travis is going to be doing the presentation and be online for calls with Grant as well. So I think we start off with doing the Grant with Travis presentation, and then Ted right after kind of going through and picking apart maybe some things that you saw on there that you would maybe have a different opinion on, if that's okay.
Sure.
Granty boy, you ready to go?
Yeah, just give me one moment here. I'm gonna pull up the video and then we can swap and we can share screens here. So
Yeah, you can just jump on there. There's a multi-participant option on here now. So
okay, cool.
anytime you're ready.
Okay.
And Ted, thanks for jumping back in.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see here.
Just let me know if you don't have access.
Should be good.
Did you want to preface this with anything, Grant?
Basically what this video here is for is we wanted to show you guys how you can utilize and sell financing in the home when you're meeting with the customer. We're also going to talk about some different points on why financing is obviously extremely valuable to your business, probably more now than ever. And, we utilize it quite a bit. Obviously, people probably don't have the cash on hand that they used to. So this video is really kind of just showing you guys that. And, Travis does a really good job of explaining why it's important. I would say in our office, he definitely probably does the most financing, and he gets really creative with it. So this is about a 10-minute video. We'll share this with you guys, and then I will have Travis on afterwards just to answer any questions that you guys might have specifically with financing. So
Thanks, Grant.
yep. Can you hear it?
We can't hear it. No, we don't have any volume.
Okay, let me, I think it's because it's playing in our,
Just have to have them cram into your 10 by 12 office, bud.
Yeah, right. You know, one sec here. I'm sure that'll meet COVID. Let's see here. Wish it was going to give me some options here.
Yeah, we had it going when we tested it on Tuesday, so it should be okay.
You gotta stream the audio from your computer, not from the mic function in the Zoom.
Yeah, it just has your mic on mute, I think, too.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'm just going to stop my screen share in the other room here, and then that'll fix my issue.
Oh, that's okay. We had about 4 more people join during this, though. It's good.
Perfect. Yep. That'll be awesome. I'll start this over here.
Got it.
All right, hello everybody. I'm Travis with ABC out of Bismarck. A little bit about myself. I'm a sales rep. Been with ABC Seamless since February of 2013. So coming up here to be 8 years. And what I want to talk to you about today is how important it is to offer financing and also how to sell financing. Why should you offer financing? Obviously, biggest reason you're going to close more deals. You're going to make it a lot more affordable to customers because it's way easier to sell a payment than a job for thousands and thousands of dollars. People buy on payments nowadays. So when you can offer a low monthly payment with no money down, it's going to make it way more likely that you can make it affordable for the customer. It all comes down to making it affordable for the customer. So there's 2 main reasons why you should offer financing. Number one, most homeowners do not have the cash to pay for it. People 34 and under with no kids have an average of $4,700 in their account. People 34 and under with kids, about $2,700. Couples 35 to 44, about $10,000. Couples 45 to 54, $15,500. And couples 55 to 64, about $17,500. So most people do not have the cash to pay cash for the remodeling projects, and the very few that do most likely will not be okay with completely wiping out their savings for one remodeling project because it's taken them most likely years to get that saved. Secondly, they can go take a home equity out. The reason why this is bad, number one, they most likely don't have the equity in their home to finance the whole project. Number two is you lose control of the deal, and most likely the banker's going to probably talk them into going somewhere else that's cheap, and then you completely lose the deal, lose control, and most likely will never have the opportunity to work with these customers again. Now, to kind of get your minds thinking about how important it is to finance. Most of the vehicles you see out there are financed. Cars are financed up to 8 years. The boats, campers, ATMs that you see on the highways and on the water getting towed and whatever, most of those are all financed up to 15 years. Furniture, appliances, home improvement stores, cell phones, all sold on payments. If these people wouldn't be able to buy this stuff on payments, they simply would not afford to have it. So let me ask you this. How can you folks all expect to go into a home and expect to sell something knowing that most people don't have the cash or the home equity in their home to take a home equity out without offering financing? You're completely wasting the customer's time, your time, if they don't have a way to afford it. So that's why it's so important to offer a low monthly payment, because no matter how much they love the product and they love ABC, if they can't afford it, they simply can't do it. Now, another thing, talking about the cars, boats, furniture, phones, tools, etc. All those things will depreciate as you're making payments. By the time they're paid off, probably going to be worth hardly anything. But guess what? Remodeling, homes appreciate. Remodeling, you put a superior product on, it's going to appreciate with the house. So as you make payments, it's going to continue to appreciate with the house instead of depreciating. So put steel on, it's going to hold its value and appreciate, versus if you put vinyl on, wood, hardy board, etc. Or if you're looking at a roof and put asphalt on, or looking at windows and do a cheap vinyl, double pane, non-virgin vinyl window versus a triple pane virgin vinyl window, you can put a superior product on and that's going to appreciate with the house, versus a product that's going to depreciate and that's going to be worth nothing someday. So it's a no-brainer. It's very easy to sell financing if you ask the right questions. So you just ask the customer, if I can show you how financing would actually save you money long-term and give you a better product, would you say no to that? If I could actually show you that it's going to save you money. Now, another example of how you can sell financing is got two options. You could pay cash or you could finance. Most of the time when people are getting estimates, they can't afford to pay cash, so they'll have to save more, or they'll finance. Advantages of financing is, number one, you're going to prevent future problems that would occur by procrastination. You have a roof that's leaking and you need to decide you're going to wait to do it because you want to pay cash, more likely to have more problems with mold and all kinds of issues from procrastination. And then also, you do financing, you're going to get to enjoy it longer. And then thirdly, the sooner that product's on that house, the sooner you're going to start saving money on your energy bill. If you decide to go the route to saving money, you're not going to save any money on your energy bill till the job's done. You're not going to enjoy it, obviously, till the job's done. And you're going to have the risk of more problems occurring for procrastination. So you just ask the customer, all right, folks, so you really got an option. You're going to either pay inflation and risk having more problems occur, not enjoy the product as long, and not have the energy savings, or you could simply do a monthly payment and avoid procrastination problems, enjoy the product right away, and start saving money on your energy bill as soon as the product is done. And other things that are simple to relate to for financing: car dealerships, furniture stores. They all offer financing and big discounts if you pay cash. The reason why this is they all put a higher sticker price to make it look like you can get a lower interest. They're buying down the interest. Look at a vehicle, you can get like 72 months no interest, or you can get rebates. You can't get them both. The reason why that is they build the interest into the purchase price so that they can offer a lower interest. For most people, you're better off selling at a higher price at a lower interest, because most people nowadays look at interest rates not at the purchase price. They look at interest rates and the payment. Some of the benefits with the unsecured loan, of course, there's no closing costs. Unsecured meaning they don't put a lien on your home. No down payment needed. Easy to set up. Fast approval. Most of them get back to you like within a minute. I kid you not. And most of the banks we use are open till 11 o'clock at night. So they're very accommodating and fast funding. And most of the banks that we have do have stage funding, so you can get some funding right away if you aren't okay with waiting until the job is completely done. And the most important thing that this is going to do for everybody that's willing to open their eyes and try financing, it's going to reach an untapped market. Reason why I bring this up, there's so many people at home that are sitting here or sitting there that have a mindset that we have no cash in our account or we have no equity. So we can't, doesn't even pay to have someone come out. If you can reach out to these customers and make them realize that they can get remodeling done with no down payment, with no equity in their home, you're going to reach all these untapped customers that not only us aren't reaching, but a lot of the competitors are not reaching also. So there's a lot of potential with financing. All right, I'll leave it open now for any questions. Thank you.
All right, Grant, you're still on there?
Yes. Hold on, I'm just gonna...
Grant is on here. Ted is on here. Chris, I think you're on here yet. We've got about 42 other people on here. With that video, Travis, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he does probably $1.2 to $1.5 million in financing every year. Now, that's a crazy amount. That's probably 60% of his business. So, Travis, you're on the air right now. I'd like to hand it to you right away, considering you did that video. I want to open it up to everybody that has questions too. Like right now, we'll start off with people asking. So, like, what sides of project are being financed the most? That's one part of the question. The other part of it is, what is the smallest dollar value that you offer financing for? And I know you know the answers for what you do. We can throw in a couple answers on our end, Ted, you as well. It's just better to get from the masses versus just one or two parties. So, Travis,
Yeah.
go ahead.
For us in Bismarck, we're financing anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 gutter job.
Is it possible you could turn your mic up, Grant?
Yeah, just give me a minute here. Actually.
Okay. Hi, Sue.
Okay, should be good now.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's good. Really good.
Awesome.
Way better.
All right. So to answer that question, we're financing anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to 100,000. The reality of it is, like I said in the video, it just unfortunately nowadays people don't have the cash, and it's just not really an option for them to go to their own bank. And we do have quite a few financing companies that will go up to 100,000, and sometimes you can't get them fully approved at that. So what we do at Bismarck in that case is we use maybe 2 or 3 banks for the same job. And the banks are okay with you doing that as long as you're not using one bank to cover, or 3 banks to cover roughing. So you can use one to cover the roof, one to cover the siding, one to cover the windows. The one negative about using this many banks is you absolutely need to get the work done in the time frame that it takes, or they give you to get it done, because they might not requalify again for one of those loans if you have to rerun their credit. So most of the banks that we're using right now, we're using that give us at least 6 months to get the work done, because we're typically 4 to 6 months out on big jobs right now in Bismarck.
Do you mind if we ask that same question to Ted? Do you have maybe some financing numbers that you guys have went through and how it's worked for you guys to offer?
Yeah, you know what we did is we basically, I blended it in to where the finance fees does not affect the sales commissions or anything like that, so that our guys will push it. The main thing with the financing for us is we push really hard for the one call close, which I know Travis does too. And so what we do, a lot of same as cash, 18 months, 12 months, same as cash, but it gets the people talking and finding out what the true objections are. And once we know and they open up and they tell us what they can afford with a monthly, then it's like Travis was saying, it's just about putting it together. But what I see speaking as an owner now or a franchisor, what I see a lot of dealers hesitant about is because they see that fee that it is associated with the financing. And what I did is I built it in, I built it into our pricing. And right now, as of this year, our finance programs fees, and we actually even blended royalties into it, is at a 3%. Okay. So when you see, so what I'm saying is, don't look at each individual job, look at the whole what you do total, because that job, you may have paid 8% on it or 10% on it, but you exposed yourself to the neighbors, you exposed yourself to their friends and family, got it affordable. They're going to talk about that. It's just endless on what that brings. And so many people, so many dealers I see get caught up with, oh God, that fee, that 8%. Well, you got to blend it in and look at the whole picture as a whole. And me and Paul did that, and he's at the same number as we are. So I know that we're speaking the same language here. Because they did some good numbers as well.
To add to that too, you know, when we're financing, it's not coming from our bottom line and our profit. We're just adding the percentage to what we need to get. So if I got a job I need to sell for 10,000 and the finance fee is 10%, I'm going to charge $1,000 more for that job. So at the end of the day, as long as you build in the price, you're still going to be able to end up with the same cash at the end of the day in your accounts. It's just a matter and just realizing that people, when you go to sports shows or anything nowadays, you see a payment, you don't see a total price. Most customers now will look at the payment and they don't even care about the final price. When you have people spending $120,000 on a pontoon and financing it for 15 years, they're not, these dealerships aren't putting $120,000 on a sticker, they're putting a payment. So it's just a matter of just quit thinking that it comes down to price and realize that it's coming down more nowadays to payments. Build it into your price and just make sure that the numbers work out where you end up with the money you need, and just add the fee into your price.
Hey, Travis, we got a question came in. Says, what if the customer says at the time of the sale that they're good and they don't need financing, and then the job gets done and they decide they want to now finance it?
Yeah, we got it now. We got feedback here. Do you mind asking that question again, Chris?
Yep. So what happens if the customer says at the time of the sale that they're good and they don't need any financing? Then they sign the contract, the job gets done, they make the deposit. Then once the job is done, they now want to finance. How do you go about handling that aspect?
That's a really tough situation. It sucks because it's really our salesmen in Bismarck are trained to really make sure that to protect us, that the likelihood that that's not going to happen, because if we feel like that's going to happen before I even show a price, I'm going to build in a fee in case that does happen. And at the end of the day, if they end up not financing, it's more profit in our books. But there is going to be some of those deals where they do call in and they hear it on the radio or they see it at a show. And then we just explain to the customer that at the particular time when we sold them their product, we were offering more discounts and no financing. So at the end of the day, the money ends up being about the same. So we just let them know that they can't double dip on the promotion. So what at the time they got what we were offering and we can't change it, is pretty much what we explained to them. But that does happen. And any of you that are going to offer financing it is going to happen, because if we advertise financing on the radio and other areas, and that's going to happen. So we just say that we were offering cash promotions at that time, so you paid less for your product. I can offer you that financing now, but then the price is going to be more for the deal. So, but really train your salespeople to really ask those questions and stuff to prevent this from ever occurring. But no matter what you do, it's going to happen. Especially, we've seen it a little bit more this year with deals we sold last year before COVID, with people getting laid off and stuff. There's more people that want to finance now that initially had planned to pay cash when it was sold. So that's going to happen. I hope that answers that question.
That's a good answer. Can I ask one question on my question here? Do you think it'd be beneficial for us to create a document that states that, so when they actually sign the agreement, that we have it in writing that they've realized that this is the price for them if they weren't to finance, and there would be an additional cost if they were to accrue financing through us down the road. Do you think that would be something that we should do?
You're saying, so if it's someone paying cash, that the price would be higher if they finance?
Exactly, because we offer financing, but there's a charge to us for service. You know, that's
I would say that would be fine if it's a cash buyer, but I wouldn't do it if it's a finance customer, because we don't want them obviously to know that we're building a whole bunch of money into the cost. So to answer that question, I think that's a really good idea, because then these phone calls won't happen because we already have a document. So that actually, everything we just talked about actually just gets fixed with what Scott just brought up. Have them sign a document that we're offering them a cash price, and if we're offering financing later on, that the price would go up. So that literally fixes that conversation we just had prior.
Okay. Chris?
Travis, honestly, how long did it, there's a question, how long did it take you to become comfortable to talk full financing with the clients and or confident that it would help you close the sale? And I guess the second part to that would be, when it comes to the financing, how do you go about introducing it? Like, how do you bring it up in the conversation of the house? What point during the pitch does that come into play?
Well, to start with, I was comfortable right away with it. And honestly, it comes down to Josh from St. Cloud. He was a manager over at Your Home Improvement Company at the time. And that's where I started in this industry. And they had like a 4 or 5 day training program. And it was a pretty intense trading program. And, you know, like normally maybe half of or a quarter of the people would be already quit before the end of the week. But Josh, that's a really good question that you could probably ask Josh better, because he's the one that really trained me in to do this. I still use the 10-step sales process that he taught me in St. Cloud, and all the sales reps that I've trained in Bismarck are on the same 10 steps. So that question, I was comfortable right away, but that was training done by Josh when he was at Your Home Improvement Company in St. Cloud. So that might be, I don't know if Josh is included in this stuff, but that might be a good question for him, because he did, that's one thing, he did a really excellent job in training me. Paul got some free training over there. He interviewed me, wouldn't hire me till I had experience. I went work there for a month and then came to ABC. So,
Joshy boy, are you available for that one? Quick.
What's that?
Is Josh, are you available for answering that one quickly? I know we talked yesterday for a brief 20 minutes, but just picking on you right now if you're there.
There you go. Is that working?
Yep, gotcha.
All right, so basically, guys, during the company story, we let everybody know that we offer financing. We just go through the different banks that we have as an option. We don't push it at that point in time. When we roll out our pricing program at the end, guys, we give them the overall price, and then we give them 3 pricing options. So basically a 5-year, a 7-year, and a 10-year financing option. Now with those options, I really don't care what the prices are with them. They're just feeler payments to find out what the homeowner is looking at. So we can gather the information that we need to get them in the right program, so then we can ask for that sale.
Perfect answer. Thanks, sir.
Yep.
Chris, do you want to keep
kind of changing it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just kind of changing it up a little bit here. Travis, when the backlog is out 5 months to a year in your guys' case or longer, do you find it easier to finance jobs, or does it help your sale with the client knowing that they will not have to make a payment until the product is put on? Does that tend to change anything, or do you find it harder going in sometimes saying, hey, it's going to be a year till we can get there and whatnot against your competition?
It's a lot easier to sell a big project or even a small project by offering payments, with them knowing that the payments don't start till the job is done, because when you're 6 months out to a year, it gets a little bit more challenging to get people willing to give you a good sum down payment. So to that question, it's a lot easier to sell something that's scheduled out further by financing. So especially because a lot of people that have cash to afford our product, they have their money invested somewhere, and they're probably going to be taking it out of some kind of investment firm. And a lot of them they want to make money off of their investments as long as they can. And if you're going to ask them for 10, 15, 20% down to get scheduled for something that's not going to get done for 6 months to a year, they're probably not going to like that. And that customer, even though that they have the cash, that customer might be a perfect customer for like a 12 months no interest financing. So.
Gotcha. Hey, Ted, got a question for you here. How are you encouraging salespeople to stay strategic? Do you put any significant amount of importance on staying up to date on the latest sales trends? And what do you do in order to accomplish this, to keep your guys kind of in the loop and on everything that's going on in your area and anywhere else around you in the surrounding competition?
Honestly, Larry is my sales manager, and I'll tell you what and I deal with Larry regularly. But one thing that I continuously hear Larry saying in all of his meetings is about sharpening your tools. I think in every department of the company, and you'll all see that everybody tends to get complacent, and you get, which by the way, Travis has stayed very sharp over all these years. That is not the norm. I have seen a lot of guys come out like lions, just tearing it up, and then as soon as they get comfortable or whatever, then they drop back to the $500,000, $800,000 in sales. So the key is to your question, keep your tools sharp, meaning regularly do your presentations, do some role playing, do all those things that you need to do ride-alongs with other sales reps to see how they do it. You guys we're all a team out there. And so doing some ride-alongs with each other, you learn a lot. I have learned a lot from other dealers, by the way, that I wasn't counting on, but it was pleasantly a surprise. I enjoy it, and I'm hoping that they're learning from us. So we're always learning, always be looking for the next thing, to make yourself better and more successful.
And that's really important too, like he was just saying, because yeah, I'm consistent, but I've always wanted to sell 3 million in a year, and I get comfortable, go on a hot streak and keep selling stuff. And before you know it, in my 10 steps, quit doing this and this and that and that. Before you know it, Troy comes up to me and said, dude, I gotta come with you on an appointment to get you back on track. And then he'll come with me on an appointment, and after that appointment, that slump is literally over right away. What ends up happening is I get comfortable, arrogant, and yeah, and if I ever want to sell that 3 million, I got to prevent that from happening. But no matter who it is, we all get that. It happens to the best of everybody. So, and it's human nature, and it's just a matter of catching it in time so it doesn't end up being a slump that continues on for months, hopefully just a week or two. But yeah, it's all about practicing your demos, doing it. If you got Grant Cardone training, anything you can do to continue to make sure that you stay on your schedule and do the steps that you've been taught, because the steps are important, they work, but when you start doing it your own way, your numbers are going to start going down, your discounts are going to start going up, and you're not going to be selling stuff at list anymore, and so on. So.
Gotcha. Do you ever feel that discounting becomes more of a crutch than a tool to get a sale done at times? Should we have heavy discounts or kind of keep them to a smaller structure? And with that, can you give us some examples of incentives and rewards programs that have been successful, generating sales, repeat sales, customer loyalty, and that stuff? I mean, we'll start with Ted if he wants to start, and we want to Travis off of that. And we can break those questions down a little more if we need to as well.
Yeah, break them down. I don't remember the first part.
Okay.
Ted, are you
So
still available? You want to ask the first two parts first?
So I'm here. I'm sorry. What did you?
No, just it's easier.
No,
It's a long question.
Yep. So I guess we could start from the back end. Can you give some examples of incentives and rewards programs that have been successful in generating sales and repeat sales and customer loyalty? I guess we can start there.
So what we do, obviously we do our ABC trip. If you're $1 million salesman, that's one thing. What Larry does though, is he has got a tracker on just an Excel spreadsheet that he basically says this is, and it's based off of a bell curve on what they're, what to be $1 million salesman, you got to sell this much in January, this much in February. And we just upped it because we had an average close rate of about 32 or 35%. So we set it up on a 33%. It's easier that way. But anyway, Larry's got it based off of what you need to sell per month, breaks it down to how much you need to sell per week. You know what I mean? So this isn't just, oh, at the end of the month, crap, I didn't make it. I didn't, you know what I mean? He is on these guys every week. Now we do that. And there's some incentives we've done some things where we were trying to get rid of some inventory. So whoever sells this yellow glow makes an extra 2% or whatever. We've done that to help get rid of some inventory. And then maybe like we had a big push for Windows because we just jumped on with Softlight and thought they were going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and we wanted to get numbers going, so we did a big promotion that way. So yes, we do things to promote and to incentivize, but it really is based off of what the company as a whole needs for success. And so that gets everybody, but yet it still benefits them. So we did a lot of those things versus if you just meet this plateau, you make this, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. And do you guys ever feel that discounting kind of becomes more of a crutch to some of the sales guys than a tool to get the sale done?
I did hear
with that,
question.
Should we have heavy discounts or keep it to a smaller discount structure?
So I'm not plugging Leap here. I just want you guys to know. But what I will tell you, and I was just talking to Paul the other day about this, is that as I'm figuring, we budgeted 12% for commissions, and this year we are at 15%. And I attribute that. I don't give Leap all the credit. I give Larry the credit too, but I will tell you, there's something about presenting that price on a screen that it takes the sales rep out of the loop, and that this is the price. And so what we did every month, we did a promo. So it's like, we're not giving a discount. You can get free gutters or 25% off gutter protection. We can do that for you, whatever our monthly special is, but we do not per se give a discount. And since I've incorporated the finance fees in it, our sales reps have made a lot more money doing it this way. And so they don't like to give discounts because, you know what I mean, it comes against their commission. So they may walk away from a job because they don't want, that's not the smartest thing to do, but I just try to take that out of it, Now, I'm not saying we don't discount at all. You want the deal, but I'll tell you what, we don't discount nearly as much as we used to when we were doing a notepad piece of paper and, a pen saying, hey, to get this deal done tonight, what do we need to do? That shit's off the table now. We don't do that anymore. So.
Gotcha.
We have one testimonial if Josh is still on here. He started using it in January, and he can contribute some good results to it. And like Ted said, we're not plugging Leap. However, we know how effective it can add to your business depending on your size of business, of course. But Josh, would you tell us maybe 30 seconds of testimonial on how it's helped your business this year?
Yeah, we signed up with Leap right after the convention last year, got it implemented first part of January, rolled out, perfect timing for dealing with everything with the pandemic, and really increased our close percentage by about 7%. So I'm at 43% right now, which is a great number to be at. And our business is up in total of 27% from the year before. So Leap has just brought a whole ton of different professionalism to the industry that no other company around this area, especially in St. Cloud, is dealing with.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
To add to that incentive thing.
Oh, Travis? Okay.
To add to that incentive thing. So when I first started here, our annual trip thing was based off of you sell $1 million or whatever it was, you get to go on the trip. So about, I think it was 2 years ago, Arrow had made the change where we can get the money back instead of going on the trip. So when that happened, what we actually did is we thought, well, if we got one salesman that sold $1 million at a 10% discount, and we got another salesman that sold $1 million at a 25% discount, well, the one that's at a 10% discount should be getting a better bonus than the one at a 25%. So what we do now is you have to sell 1.3 million to get your bonus, but it's based off of your average discount. So if you average a 5% discount, you get $8,000 bonus, which can be used for the trip or a cash bonus. And then it goes down to 10% discount is it goes 864. So if you're at a 5% discount, you get 8,000, and then 10% you get the 6, and then
Hey,
15.
Travis, do you mind, instead of telling us all, do you mind just sharing it, and then we could show different
Yeah,
templates?
but it just makes it so that you don't have people going out and selling stuff at the end and giving stuff away just to get on the trip.
Basically, what happens is they have to meet a certain criteria to basically cover what the trip would normally cost. So they still are able to collect a bonus depending upon what their average discount was, but it might not be enough to cover for the trip. So it incentivizes them to obviously try to get a better dollar amount for the projects that they're selling.
Understood. Chris, you got a few more questions for us?
Yep, couple more. So Travis, you've been doing this for a while. How many years exactly have you been a sales rep out there in Bismarck?
It'll be February 1st.
Okay, so in 8 years, you've seen a lot of things change in that area and feel. What sales techniques do you see possibly falling by the wayside with the new digital era we live in? Obviously with COVID and whatnot, and not being able to always go into people's homes and everything. Do you see anything falling by the wayside that used to work that's just not working anymore, and that you're moving on from and developing off of?
I would say we've been pretty fortunate yet. The one thing that I do see is customers are less and less likely to give you a lot of time. So just got to be more, we're going to have to all get more efficient, and that PowerPoint is excellent. And especially with the fact that everything that the salesman is saying, you have proof by a third party to back it up. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we're not taking too much time from the customer, because that's the biggest thing nowadays is sometimes you don't have the time. You just got to be able to do your job. That might take 3 hours and do it in half an hour and still do a good job of it. So I would just say learning your stuff and learning what's important, and also adapting to the customer and asking questions the first 5 minutes and know what parts that are going to be important to that customer. So just more or less of asking more questions and needing to adapt more to that customer's needs, opposed to just going by a script and spend 3 hours with them. I think it's more or less just asking a lot of questions and find out exactly what that particular customer wants, and take as little time as possible, but be thorough at giving them what they want.
Gotcha. And do you see these digital sales trends? Are you still able to keep everything as much as possible to a one-call close? Or are you seeing it because the customers don't have a lot of time that maybe you needed a second call just because you on the closing side?
I think we've only maybe did 10 digital appointments all year, but now in North Dakota here, though, we've been very fortunate with COVID. We were pretty lucky here until maybe the last 2 or 3 months. We've had we're a hot spot now, but throughout the summer and stuff, it wasn't as big of a problem as it's been in like Minnesota, Michigan, and a lot of other states that we have franchises in. So I'm probably not the one to answer that question, because we've been pretty fortunate. And for the most part, I would say 99.99% of our appointments are still been done in person. So, and I know that Paul did advertise digital appointments, and I don't think we really had.
We have maybe one or two that actually like utilize that service. You know, and we have everything set up and ready to do it, but most people have allowed us out to their house, and if they're not comfortable inside, we'll do it outside, obviously weather permitting, but.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
for
our
that question,
COVID
I'm probably
numbers
not
are
the right
skyrocketing, bud.
person to ask.
It's going to be less and less that they're going to allow you to do that. So that's the reason for this, is to make sure that we know how to do the digital part of it as well. So we've actually had pretty good success in Fargo doing it. To be honest with you, we've sold probably almost $250,000 off of doing online presentations this year. So that's the thing, is like, all you have to do is invite them into the showroom after you do it, and they can touch and feel it. I mean, doesn't seem too hard to invite them into the environment to where they're a lot likelier to buy when they see all your product and colors and styles and see all your plaques on the wall, right? I mean, you want to get them into your environment, correct?
Yeah, you have a way more likelihood of. We have a beautiful showroom here. A lot of hard work by a lot of people to get it where it is, and they're always trying to improve it. And it's not utilized enough by the salespeople. Your chances of approving or getting a sale goes up so much if you get them in this building. So Scott's 100% accurate. If you get a customer in your showroom, it's going to increase your chances of earning their business a lot.
I'm going to quick jump in here. I know we got a few more questions. We'll go a little over 3 o'clock, no big deal. But we've got a special guest online here today. There's someone that we started back in 2013. I visited with him, Ed, and Liana Yoder. And she's on the call today, and she's actually eclipsed $1 million in sales. And I wanted to make sure that she was available to answer a few questions for us as well. I know she's sold in the past, but not nearly as much as this year. $1.2 million Liana has sold this year. And I really want everybody on the call to recognize that, because she didn't start at sales at all. She was right away when I met her, she was, I'm sorry, but Liana, you were fairly timid and not wanting to go outside of your bubble. But right now, every time I talk to you, you're growing and growing with going to the events like in Baltimore and Dallas and all the Yoho events out there, getting better, bettering yourself. I mean, for you to sell $1.2 million in a year, that's so amazingly awesome. Without having, a past sales record. I mean, I know you were involved in sales and stuff, but $1.2 million, Liana, would you jump on here to say a few words on how, like, you're not getting an award or anything right now, but that's later, that's tomorrow. But would you tell us maybe a little bit of insight on how you've done that, how you've learned from Ed? Because I know you guys work together your family is so close and you can learn so much from each other. Would you just share with us maybe a few things that have helped you this year to sell that amount? Perfect.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much. This is like, you're putting me on the spot a little bit, but.
No, I'm sorry, but I can do some jokes if you want, if it helps.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
No, it's kind of plowed the path for me. I never dreamed I'd be in sales, for one. I was just going to be in the office and, take the calls, stuff like that, set everything up for him, and did that for a long time. But he finally told me, well, you can read a tape, can't you? So that's kind of how it started. Anyway, I love what I do. I love going out and meeting with customers, talking to them, just, showing them the product. The product basically sells itself. But I also have, like I said, Ed has pretty much built the company. Customer referrals is totally our biggest lead generation. And that is first and foremost because of him, and the installs are great employees. They do a heck of a job, installing. Ed just finished a roof last week, and the customers are actually sitting out in the yard watching them and posting pictures on Facebook, bragging us up, just stuff like that is huge. But I couldn't do it without Ed pushing me and encouraging me, and my guys just doing an excellent job installing, makes it easy for me, really.
That was tremendous. And I feel like, this is my feelings, and I know a lot of other people on here are saying some things in here. Best line of the conference so far. Great job. Woohoo. All that. This is very positive things. And I think if we can all add to that and get people more involved in understanding that, if you have the drive and ambition to learn more about what we do and do it, I mean, it's fun, right? You enjoy what you do. Every time you come to work, you enjoy what you do, right?
Yeah. I look
I mean,
forward
most
to it.
days, unless you have to talk to me, but yeah, I got you.
You said it, I didn't.
I got you. And you will be joining the poker tournament tonight, right?
Oh, I do not know the first thing about poker, I promise.
That's fine. I appreciate you spending a couple minutes here. It was just kind of a special guest appearance, and hopefully every year you do sell over 1 million, and we're excited to have you a part of the ABC Seamless family. And that's all I have. Chris, I know you got a few more
I do
questions.
have one more thing,
Oh
Scott.
yeah, of course.
You are also a huge part of this. You have helped us out tremendously ever since we even started ABC Seamless. The first time Ed met you, you gave him so much information, and he came back and talked about you, and you've been helping us ever since. So not just you, everybody at corporate has been amazing. So, but yeah, thank you guys too.
We appreciate you so much, and I'm glad you're involved in this, and stay involved and let us know anything we can do to help you, and give us any guidance you can with the information that you've been selling over $1 million. I've never done that before. Chris, you're on pace, and Travis, I know you have. I know Ted has. A lot of other people on the call have, but I just it's our pleasure to have you part of the system here. So, Chris, you got we got 10 minutes left, but I don't care if we go over it all. So, Chris, I know you got about probably 10 more questions on there at least. So, go ahead.
Nope, I actually don't. We kind of went over and blended a couple together. So, I guess there is one question on here. It's kind of a broad question. I guess it kind of depends on where you're at. But how many sales reps do you need at a franchise location? And I know it's based on a territory and how much land people can cover, but there's also the fact, right, where we don't want to burn sales reps out. That does become an issue if guys are running 5 appointments a day for 6 months. They're just going to fall off the map. People can only run so much. So kind of where are we at on that aspect? I guess that kind of opens up to a lot of people to answer that. Grant or Ted or Travis, however you want to tackle that question.
It's a hard question.
Ted, if you're still on here, do you mind?
It's a hard question, I know.
Do you mind if you answer that first? I know we've talked a little bit about it, but if you're still on there, and I'm not sure you are or not, but if you are, could you answer that first?
Are you looking for Ted?
Did he take off?
Don't see him on.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's not
I know
on
he let me know that he had a fire to put out, and knowing how many locations he owns and operates, we were fortunate to have him a part of this as long as we did. So Travis, anybody else? Paul, any other sales managers? Troy, I see you on here too.
It's a really hard question to ask because it's really going to be based off of location and supply and demand, and of course. But the one thing I will say is you don't want to get them more out, but you also want to make sure that you have a decent amount so that the salespeople don't get too high of an ego and such and think they're irreplaceable. You want to have a good, healthy competition within your sales force to help push each other and stuff. And you can't have that if you don't have a good amount of salespeople for you. So it's a hard one. That hard question to answer. It's going to be like here. I think, what do we have? I think we have 5 now. So, and we've done fine with 4, but we just felt like it to get it more competitive and stuff within the sales force that we wanted to add 1 more. So we have 5 right now.
Gotcha. Travis, Josh asked, what percentage of your overall sales are self-generated a year?
The last few years, I don't know the answer to that question because this year I haven't really done much of it. it's been one of the most stressful years for me because when I've always had, it's been slow and stuff, I've always went door knocking. Actually, my first sale in this industry was a door knocking job, but I have tried a little bit of it this year, and with COVID and some of the cities in the state won't even let us get permits. So I would say it's been maybe 5 to 10% in years past, but this year I haven't been able to do it because of the COVID thing. But I was a door-to-door salesman for 2 years before I worked for this industry. So I've had that experience, and door-to-door isn't as difficult as you would think, but with this pandemic, it's not work. It just didn't work out the way I would like it to this year.
Is there anybody else?
Brandon Moore and
Oh, go ahead.
what's up? Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead,
I
Scott.
just wanted to ask if anybody else had any feedback on that same question. Not the question prior would have been, how many sales reps do you need to make sure you hit your sales goals? That one. Yeah, Brandon, you want to do that Brandon one?
Yes,
Yep.
I can give you two
Okay,
quick.
Troy's open up here. Yep, Troy.
As far as how we look at it, we look at sales trends, obviously, where have we been and where do we expect to go for coming goals. Then really it's just math, right? You look at the average sale per lead divided by how many leads to get there and how many can each consultant run. So that's how we kind of look at it. There's that line, right? You don't want to have too many consultants and not enough leads, but you can't run the leads if you don't have the consultants. So it's a little bit of a guessing game. At the end of the day, you have to rely on marketing, putting extra effort in if we need more leads. You sure don't want to be on the other side where you can't go meet the people in a timely fashion. So yeah, it's a little bit of guesswork. I'm a firm believer in using the data that we do have and we do know to try to track that. So do
you mind if I ask you another question on that? This year, how much has your data changed this year versus previous years?
This year will be up about 50%. So it's a big jump. Our backlog, I don't know if it's good to hear, but it's good. It was good to hear.
Positive for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That some of the other dealers are, months out as well, like we are. So, you have to factor that in too and kind of mitigate. You can't expect 50% growth every year realistically. If we get that, great, we'll react. But you got to look at the history too and go, in a quote unquote normal year, what is our growth?
Troy, there's a question for you too. From Brandon over at the amazing Morin store. Troy, do you get your data through MarketSharp, all of it? Is that how you dissect your analytics for your data and to manage it?
Yeah, majority of our data comes from MarketSharp, and Shannon, who heads up our marketing, she'll kind of divvy it up based on siding. We also do awnings. So she'll break it up by product category and give it to me in a nice spreadsheet. So I don't have to do a lot of the data mining myself, which saves a lot of time. She's very adept at it. So that's where we pull that from.
Thank you, Troy, for sharing.
You bet.
Chris, did you have any other questions on our stuff that's coming in?
Nope, I don't have anything else right now.
Does anybody else have any feedback or anything they want to bring up live on, unmute themselves and ask the question? We're gonna be here probably for another 15 minutes, 18 minutes going through stuff. So if anybody wants to stay on the line and go through some questions or bring up some different more difficult subject matters or more simple subject matters, that would be great too. I did have somebody share with me, well, there's a couple things here. This is from Paul Barnum. The best reason to offer financing is to stay in control of the job. Travis, you agree?
Yeah, control, once a customer's in control, it's just never, everybody that's in sales, ask yourself, if anything ever comes out of a positive out of a customer getting control of the situation.
What happens when they go to the bank, their own bank?
95% of the time, their banker's gonna tell them they're too expensive.
So if you can get appraisal as long as, or last as long as 45 to 60 days to get the money, a lot of things can happen in that duration of time, right? They can
Yeah,
decide on different
exactly.
companies, and you don't have the Service Finance, Interbank, and Green Sky are for the most part the ones you guys use. So if you don't have that connection with you signing up with ABC through them, there's a lot of, I mean, there's a very good chance that they're going to go through a different route, right?
Yeah, you're 100% accurate, but even if the appraisal comes back, I tell you what, most people just don't have the equity in their homes because when you refinance a house, you could only, if you owe more than 10% of your, you can only loan up to 90% of the value of your home. Well, most people, when they're buying a home, they're putting 3 or 5% down, sometimes nothing on an FHA loan. So there's not a lot of people out there that just do not have the option. And then they get this appraisal back, and they're getting told that they don't have any equity any equity in their home. So what do you think the customer is going to do? They're going to be pissed off, and they're just going to say, hell with this. I'm done. I'm not going to even do anything. They're not going to call you back and say, I want to use your financing now. They're just going to be frustrated with all the headache and all the paperwork they brought to the bank, and now they have to pay for this appraisal, and they don't have anything to show for it.
So the more and more we look
Right,
at
on
this,
top of that,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say on top of that too, with appraisals, what we've been seeing out on this side is it's taken 4 to 6 months just to get an appraiser to even come out. So now we're actually stretching it out another half a year before we have anything else done. And that's everywhere. I'm pretty sure you hear it from a lot of people all over the place. So a client you see in March, do you think you're really going to end up talking to them again in August or September? I mean, it just doesn't really happen.
Right. And then that banker also, as a point was said, that banker could already bank or have a relationship with that other siding company or window company or gutter company out there, right? So they could just say, hey, I saw ABC Seamless, they're 55 grand. You know, my buddy, he could do it for 37. Which one do you want? And then right there, that takes the credibility right away from us.
Yeah, because folks, you got to realize a lot of these people have been banking with their banks for years, and some of them have a personal banker that they bank with for 10 years, 5 years. And you've been with them for 3 hours. They go to their bank and this banker tells them not to do it. Well, if they obviously are going to have a better relationship, most likely with that banker, and they're going to have more credibility with that customer, just because they're going to trust them more because of the connection that they've had with them for years. And then that's just going to completely wipe out the deal for you. And then also, I can't remember the last time I had to do proof of income for a customer or anything. Most of the time, when I use the financing, I do have them sign their paperwork and everything on my tablet. When I leave that, it takes maybe 10, 15 minutes after they're approved to have all that completely done. And then all I need to do now is do a completion certificate with the customer. When they're done, they sign off on it, we get funded. If they have to go to their own bank, they could get asked for 10 different things, and now the customer just gets annoyed by it.
All right.
Service Financial doesn't ask for proof of income. Normally Green Sky doesn't. Interbank does.
Yeah,
but I use Service Financial most of the time.
The information needed now is way less than what it used to be, just because all the shit we're going through. So is there anybody else, anything that they want to ask of Travis or Chris, Troy, Leanna, excuse me, Josh, Paul, anybody on the line here? There was a comment made, Travis, would you mind doing a video with Grant on how you do your sales presentation? I mean, I'd love to see that too. So if you guys could get together and put something like that together, that'd be fantastic to get out everybody as
You
well.
would be more than willing to do it, but I would probably actually give us a little time, because this new PowerPoint is going to encourage anybody that uses this new PowerPoint, their sales are going to go way up. You just use that PowerPoint is going to sell jobs for you. It just, the biggest thing with that PowerPoint is learning to ask the right questions with the customer to know what parts to do, because obviously you can't go through 200 pages of a PowerPoint with the customer.
Well,
So
you can. We know that you could stay in the house that long.
Maybe, my record is 8 hours, but that was more of just being fun and stuff. But now that we have Chris will have that record broken, trust me.
Yeah, he will.
Trust me, he'll break that record. He was in a house for 5 hours for a gutter sale about a week ago.
It's a long time. Paul, did you unmute yourself? Was that you? Paul?
I got a question kind of for everybody out there in a way that's doing sales. An interesting thing that sometimes comes up here is you'll go to a sale and there will be a contractor there that'll be doing the work. They'll be redoing a wall or whatnot, and it's our product that's on the building. And you'll come into this question where that contractor will say, "Oh no, you're just going to give me the contract, and then I'll send me the contract and what the cost is, and then I'll be the one paying you with the check." So Travis, how do you go about handling him? Because we want the homeowner on that contract, right? So we don't want to have it go there. I know Deb's sitting here and she's looking at me because she's had some crazy issues where contractors' names are on it, and then all of a sudden nobody's under warranty because it was a contractor who signed it.
That is an excellent question, and we actually need to talk about that. I think we're just going to start avoiding dealing with them, because here's what's been happening a lot. I give like 10 estimates to contractors this summer on ABC hail damage, and I never heard back from them. They said the customer didn't do anything. So then I drove past the homes, and they put something else on there. What they're doing is they're charging out to insurance and acting like, so insurance pays the full amount, and then they're making more money, and they might give some of it back to the customer. But a lot of these contractors are getting paid an ABC premium. And I've had some where I've even worked with their insurance and spent all that effort, and then they end up going with that contractor. The contractor works out a deal and says, I'll do the agreement for this amount, and I'll do a separate agreement with you and give you some money back at the end. So now the customer is getting money back, and then the contractor is making more money. And it's more of a problem with the customers that have bought homes that have had our product on there prior, not so much with the people that understand the value, but it's happened way too much with customers that don't understand the value. And that's another thing too, is if it's got ABC on it and it's not the one that bought the product, you need to do a full demo with those people. They need to understand, because if not, another contractor is going to go in there and tell them, well, we had the same thing as ABC. We'll do it for the same price as ABC, but we'll give you some money back at the end. So to answer that question, the best way, and it's probably it's going to probably tick some contractors off. The only way you win in the situation is if you have some type of communication with that customer. And if you don't, I've started to avoid giving them prices. I won't even give a contractor a price if they have ABC on that house, unless I could speak to the customer. Because at the end of the day, 95% of the time, you're putting all this work into it, and then the contractor is the one that's going to benefit, and ABC doesn't even end up back on that home. So I would just say, if they're not willing, you just say company policy is we don't work directly with contractors. We have to speak with the homeowner and homeowners. It says that on our agreement, that I believe that you have to be a homeowner.
Correct. And the reason why we started doing that specifically is because we've had instances where maybe a contractor comes and does work other than like siding. Let's say they do concrete and they damage the siding. The issue that we've had is, if the contractor says they're going to pay for it, well, all of a sudden you send them the bill and it never gets paid. Well, what do you go after? You can't. There's no asset. So we just say, look, here's the deal, homeowner. You'll have to go through the contractor. The contractor will have to pay you, and then you will pay us. And people usually understand, and it's just a company policy, and say, hey, we've gotten burned too many times doing it the other way, and it's just our policy. And usually they understand, and it's not an issue.
Yeah, Matt here worked on a job. I bet you he put 3 hours of fighting with the adjuster on it, and he was honest. He didn't go through a demo with the guy or anything. The guy gave us an invoice that they were going to pay fully for ABC. The guy goes and puts LP Smart Side on. So, and he does it himself.
Right.
And it was new enough, so there wasn't much depreciation. So that freaking guy got this huge check because the insurance doesn't hold as much money back if it's a newer product. Like when I got hail damage on my ABC, I had $56,000 damage on my home. Most of it was ABC, and they only held $3,000. So if a homeowner wanted to go and hire someone else, they would have only lost $3,000 of their recoverable cost. So it's a situation where you really need to, if it's a new customer that has ABC on the home, you need to do a demo and you need to find a way to communicate with that customer, because most of these contractors, they don't care about the customer. All they want is to make some money.
Yep.
Agreed.
Well, and then even if we do show up, if that's signed through the contractor and it's not signed through the homeowner, then the warranty is who's it warranted under, right? I mean,
yeah, and that
there's no homeowner there, and the homeowner goes and sells the home, and then there's no transferable. I mean, it's just Deb's looking at me like, yeah, it's half my day I spend right here. So
yeah, and then guess what ends up happening? This contractor goes and gives them a bad experience, and then we won't warranty or whatever and stuff. And guess who ends up looking like the bad guy at the end? ABC. But we did nothing wrong. So
right.
Anybody else? We got we're about almost 10 minutes over 3 o'clock. Chris, do you want to mention a couple things for this evening? We talked about a couple things earlier today. Do you want to mention at least one of them for us?
Yep, we got that poker tournament tonight. So Scott sent out that email with the link. It's real easy to sign up for. The app, I would advise getting on it and kind of going through the quick tutorial of how to use it, just because there's some slide features that you got to get used to with the chips and whatnot, but it is fun. Be ready for some crazy hands. Me and Scott can kind of attest to that a little bit. The hands get a little fun, if you want to say. But that's going on there. We do have our podcast that we are doing as well. It's kind of exciting to hear that Leap wants us to do it with them now, Scott. So, maybe we can get a collaboration one going on there with them. So that'll be good. But that's all on our YouTube page. Those are going to be coming out here every month. We're going to be doing them every month. We've been doing all kinds of different stuff. So we got a lot of different avenues coming out. We got a lot of stuff we're going to show you tomorrow in the marketing session. So I'm pretty excited about it. Me and Scott have worked a lot on it, and Grant and a bunch of people. So here's Scott sharing the poker tournament thing. So go ahead, Scotty.
Just on that link we send out with the agenda, if you download it, that's the easiest part. So when you download it, you sign up with Facebook or your email or your game part on your iPad or iPod or your iPhone or your Galaxy or whatever phone, Android that you have. You sign up, ready to rock. All you have to do is type in the ACE is what it's called. So up at the top here, where it says ABC Seamless Club, there's 7 members right now. Grant is a part of it. Chris is, but ACE, that's the name of the club. And I'll put that on the video I'll send out. All you got to do is apply for that club and I accept you. And then you could jump freely into the 25,000 chips at, 7:30 tonight it starts. So that's already scheduled to go. We've got 2 tables. Hopefully we'll at least fill 1. And then what we'll give away is for the top, say probably 3 or 4 people, we'll give away Duck Store memorabilia. And Elizabeth will put some of that together for whoever the winners are. So excited to have that. I know that there's going to be at least 6 or 7 on there. There's only 1 registered right now, but we haven't sent out the video yet. So that'll be out within the next hour. And then that'll be on the YouTube link. So I'll send out the YouTube link. You click it, and then you'll have access to that short 2-3 minute video showing you how to log in and get ready to rock for the event. Okay.
Sounds good.
Anything else? Did you
want to bring up the market?
Yep. Do you want to bring that up and I'll finish it out for you?
Sure. I mean, Marketplace has launched. So please start utilizing it, seeing it. As of right now, how much product do we have on there, Scotty?
Well, right now we actually have no product on there and about 18 franchisees that have signed up and said that they would be putting stuff on there. So I just encourage everybody out there that has some materials to sell, to trade, to get on there and throw your stuff on there. It's as easy as downloading the exported template, which the video is on the media YouTube channel. You can watch the video of 40 minutes long showing you how to do it. If you've got more complex questions, you can just refer them over to me, no problem. Media@abccmos.com or scott@abccmos.com. And then I was just going to share Chris's and my numbers just in case you guys wanted to text us or let us know if you can't get on the call tonight. So can you guys see those phone numbers up there?
Yep.
So my number is the top one. Chris is the second one. Text us or call us if you can't get in. We're going to try to Zoom it. I mean, well, we will. I've got 2 accounts set up, so we'll have one going on here, but we'll only be able to see one table at a time. So hopefully we get at least one table of 9 people together. Anybody else?
What time are we planning on trying to start that at, Scotty?
7:30 Central Standard Time. Okay. So sending the link out now. Grab a beer, grab your favorite drink, grab a lemonade, grab some snacks, whatever. Jump down, even if you don't know how to play cards, just maybe try a few hands out on the site. They give you free chips. And then we'll start playing. And even if we got 4 or 5 people on there, we're still going to put it on here. And then I'm going to open up a Zoom link for the meeting so you can jump in there as well. And, you can visit on the video camera with people as you're playing and, talk some smack to them if you want.
Right. And also, if you don't want to play too, and you don't have the functionality for Zoom, but you do have your phone, you can actually get in the app and just watch the game as well. And you can see the messages and the talking that's going on between people. You can't always see all the cards until the winning hand, but if you wanted to watch and be a part of it but not play, you can do it that way too.
Yep. And then we'll set up the Zoom so you can jump in there if you just want to utilize it that way too. So just give us a call. We want to have as many people a part of this as possible. Just something different to have, considering we can't really do anything else. So I think that's it.
That's all I got. Thanks, guys, for a great day. It was fantastic. Tomorrow it's gonna be another good day. Tom's gonna start us off in the morning, and then a lot of marketing and advertising stuff tomorrow. So it's gonna be exciting and fun stuff to see what's coming up down the pipe in 2021.
Absolutely. And everything, I want to make sure to say thanks to Chris, has been very helpful. Grant, Ted, Josh, Liana, Troy, thank you guys for participating. Caitlin, thanks for some of the graphics we're going to be showing tomorrow. Deb, Elizabeth, Jerry, appreciate all you guys' help doing everything that we've been doing for ABC to promote it and get it out there. And thanks for your positivity during this whole COVID time and getting this stuff on a Zoom environment and the agenda and the emails out to everybody. Appreciate everybody and what they've done, everybody in our office too. Thanks for your patience with me as I wanted to make sure we had enough bandwidth to get this thing on the air. And I hope everybody could jump into the poker tournament tonight. It should be some fun times.
Absolutely.
Chris and I will hang out for another 4 or 5 minutes if you guys have anything. Otherwise, we still got a little bit of work to do. So. You want to do that now?
Yeah, we can do that now.
Just give it a couple minutes. I'll wait till everybody
Yep.
in here is ready to rock.
Oh, Deb's gonna go get some cheesecake in case you're wondering, Scott.
I
She
was
says she's
wondering.
gonna eat your piece too.
I was for sure wondering.
Are you gonna show that poker game from a separate account, Scott? Because otherwise it'll show your hand every time.
We already talked about this.
I know.
Remember
I'll just see. I was gonna not say anything and then see if you remembered, and then I was just gonna open it a different way.
I remembered. No, it's going to be under Dr. L. Reuter.
Al Reuter.
It's just a fake
How
name.
fun.
Thanks.
This is a fake name. It's good.
We got somebody wanted to join after the event. Jim Hilger. What's up? Ah. It was a good day.
It was a good day.
Sorry for keeping on interrupting. I just had some certain things were coming in. I couldn't help. Thank you guys out there for still on. I appreciate the feedback. They're a great session today. Great meetings today. Thank you. Thanks to everyone. Thank you. A lot of good feedback. So I guess the shortcut would be not putting them after each line. We could put them all at the end and display them, but it's not going to be that hard for you to chuck them over. So
No, that won't take long at all.
I got to do
We're
that.
still recording, just to let you know.
Yeah, that's fine. We can
Okay.